TIFU by rating myself a 2.5/10 in terms of attractiveness. You know those videos where they approach people in public and ask you to rate yourself on a scale of 110? Well, someone was filming one of those videos and approached me and my husband and asked us to rate ourselves. We were playing Pokemon Go earlier in the day in a busy part of the city, so we decided to spend the rest of the day there walking around and shopping and had planned to get dinner later. Husband was asked first. He's a pretty confident guy and extremely handsome. He rated himself an 8.5/10, which I think is accurate. Actually, I think he's even a 9.5. Then I was asked to rate myself. I gave myself a very honest 2.5/10. I know what I look like. I don't hate myself and I don't have confidence issues. I know how the rating scale works. 5 is average. I know what flaws I have and what makes me not conventionally attractive. I've seen our True Rate Me in a lot of these rate yourself videos, and I know where I fall on the scale. And I am totally fine with it. Well, my poor husband. This really hurt him. He objected and hyped me up during filming. But then he awkwardly pulled me aside and tried to find a private part of the street after they were done filming us. He was nearly crying. There we were, in a public street, in a busy touristy city. My sweet husband with tears in his eyes and holding my hands and cradling my face, saying that it broke his heart seeing me think of myself this way. I kept explaining that I don't hate myself and I don't have confidence issues. I just simply don't equate my self-worth to my appearance. I'm happy with who I am even though I am unattractive. But my husband kept objecting and saying how stimming and beautiful I am and how much he loves me. He asked me how I could love him if I don't love myself. He was just so sad and asked me, "Don't you feel beautiful and worthy when we make love? Don't you feel beautiful when you put on your cute clothes?" We talked for a few minutes. I don't want to keep typing and make this post longer than it is. But you get the idea. I kept reassuring him I love him and I'm secure in our relationship and I don't have confidence issues. I didn't know what else to do or say. The rest of the night was awkward. Mood was dampened. We canceled our dinner reservations and just went home and showered separately. Didn't say much to each other. He went to sleep a couple hours ago, but here I am still awake. So, yeah, I should have just lied and rated myself higher. TL. Dear, I was asked to rate myself from 110 and gave myself a 2.5. Husband was heartbroken to see that I think of myself as unattractive. He sees a 10 in you. He just wants you to see yourself how he sees you because he loves you. Just saying. Please don't take True Rate Me's scale as anything near reality. It's Reddit, and so it has a very odd way of looking at women. I don't like the number system in general, but you may actually be seeing yourself inaccurately, which may explain your husband's reaction. You probably are better looking than you think. What we see in the mirror of ourselves isn't what other people see. The life that we give our faces is hard to observe, but we can see it in others. Everything from body language to the micro expressions that appear when we communicate have a non-trivial impact on how we are perceived. Your husband thinks you are attractive, but why isn't as important? True Rate Me is Cancer. There's objectively gorgeous women there getting 5/10. It makes no sense. Don't base your opinion of yourself on what goes on in our True Rate Me. That sub is Cancer. They have this myopic view of themselves as objective. But the fact is they can't see the forest for the trees. And you probably can't either. When trying to evaluate yourself, it's a hard thing. Most people miss high or low when trying to evaluate their own looks. I have no input on what happened. I have no idea what you actually look like, so I can't just sit here and say you have a poor self image with any basis in reality. But I suspect it. Your husband is probably more accurate than you are. In this case, you basically told him that he has no taste. Beauty is a subjective thing. True Rate Me is a small group forcing the users to rate people not based on their own subjective opinions but on what the creator finds attractive. Any user that gives their honest subjective opinion risks having their post deleted and being banned from the sub. There are many men out there, myself included, who wholeheartedly disagree with the grading system that sub enforces. By that scale you might be a 2.5 as you say, but that is their opinion, not fact. Some of the highest ratings I have ever seen on there look like crackhead to me, and many of the 3s and 4s I find quite attractive. Do not let these people convince you you're a 2.5 in reality. You're just a 2.5 to that idiot. I, 36F, have to argue with my situationship, 36 meters, about how attractive he is. He's convinced he's ugly and I'm convinced he can never be ugly to me. BC, I've had a crush on him literally half my life. We've known each other since we were 18 and we've been friends, enemies, FWB, the whole gamut. Lost contact 7 years ago and accidentally reunited via POF in March, rolling on the floor laughing. If he thinks balding and having eczema is going to kill my 18 years long built up crazy love for him, or makes him one iota less gorgeous to me, he has another thing coming. He knows I'm stoked at the chance to finally have a real shot at a future with him. Wackadoodle. Believe your husband. He sees more than you choose to see. Not to be that person, but not 12 days ago you posted about your low self-confidence and previously before that, about suicide. This is by no means a post to throw your history in your face, but I don't think you're as confident as you try to come across in this post, and you may either be going through a tough time or are just incredibly hard on yourself. I'd say a 2.5/10 is a huge disservice to yourself if your husband sees a 10. As a guy who goes through this same metaphorical rating struggle with his own 10 out of 10 wife, I can likely promise you that you are as beautiful as your husband tells you. True Rate Me is full of sad folk without love. That's no place for either of you. I've taken a look at a couple of your previous posts, notably the one where you talked about the constructive critique that he gave you, which was really positive. Your husband is worried about you because your self-confidence looks to have taken a nosedive when you said that. It really hurts when your partner does not think highly of themselves because they don't value themselves the same way, and the knock-on effect when this is said in public is amplified greatly. It's like telling the whole world you are out of your partner's league, that they chose wrong, etc. This isn't to shame you. It's just to highlight how it comes across. Your husband loves you unconditionally as you are his other half, and he sounds like a real stand-up lovely guy. So you must be a real stand-up lovely person too. Both of you value each other as the other's world, so act like it. Don't poison yourself with stuff like this because it builds up. I've seen few posts in True Rate Me, and from what I've learned, the person in picture can be absolute 9/10, and people in the comments are saying 4 or 5. That place only exists to hurt people and give unrealistic expectations. The internet has truly ruined the 110 rating system. Everyone thinks that a 5/10 is bad. Rating yourself or others on a scale from 110 is one of my most hated trends, and it seems to be becoming more prevalent on here with all these Rate Me subs. God, I hate it. Attraction is subjective. Everyone is different, and regardless, we're humans, not pieces of meat. Do yourself a favor and try not to even think in those terms, even if you're okay with being unattractive. It's genuinely great if you don't measure your self-worth on your appearance. But it's still toxic to think in terms of numerical rankings. regardless of whether you think you're a 1 or a 10 inches. It's all meaningless nonsense. This is directed at anyone reading this, not just op. Tolerate Me is a group of incel assholes. Do not use them as a scale for anything in reality. Maybe you're just not your own type? The scale used in Tolerate Me isn't a scale that anyone uses in real life. Do not ever use their scale on anyone, including yourself. You won the jackpot. You probably are more beautiful, handsome than you realize. But even more than that, you have someone you find attractive who you love and have a happy relationship with, who loves you and finds you attractive. I wish to God I still had that in my life, and I don't know if and when I ever will again. Never ever take that for granted. You and your husband are using different scales. Our Tolerate Me is using a different scale than most people on earth use. You are comparing yourself to photoshopped, professionally styled celebrities, and you are using a scale from a place that bans people if they say that someone is beautiful. Sure, what your husband says may be influenced by love, but what you see is influenced by a rating system designed to make women think they are ugly. Tolerate Me is notorious for that. First, I think it's really sweet and great that he brought you to somewhere private before talking about it, and that his concern was about you. Yes, he said it broke his heart to hear you say you felt unattractive. But it seems like the focus was about you. Don't you feel beautiful when you put on your cute clothes? Quote, OMG, so sweet. Good man. Second, don't feel bad for hurting his feelings, or making him feel bad, because that isn't what he's saying here or what this is about. The concern is about you and wanting you to feel good and beautiful. Now, you made a really interesting point that your self-esteem and confidence is not tied to how you look, which I'm going to believe is true. Because confidence is sexy, so if you are thinking just your physical attractiveness is just but you are a confident person with a healthy self-esteem, most likely to others you are much more attractive than most people around you that you would consider conventionally attractive. Therefore, your husband sees you as a hottie, and it probably shocked the heck out of him, and it might be difficult for most to truly understand and believe that a person genuinely wouldn't be affected by their looks or lack thereof, since our society places such a high value on it. Even though I put zero effort into my appearance, I don't think I could totally separate myself from it. You must spread your wisdom to others in how you do that. It sounds healthy and strong. Maybe when you both have a moment to breathe and talk, he'll be equally fascinated in learning this aspect of his partner and understanding how you think and feel in such a unique way that is utterly you, which is why he loves you. You see yourself as a 2.5, but in his eyes you're a 10. Therefore, you're technically a 12.5. Self-esteem for some people can be pretty low. I used to think I was on the low range. There was days I felt 5 and days that I felt 1. But with time and being on a few relationships, my self-esteem increased a little. I'm pretty in my own way. Beauty, it's really subjective, but also be canonized. If you think outside of the box that it's the beauty canon. We are all beautiful in our own ways, and we don't need to feel ashamed of ourselves. Think about yourself this way. Loving yourself is a strong point in order to be on a relationship. He's trying to make you feel happy about your body. I always praise her even if she doesn't feel like it. Beauty comes from the inside and outside. And you're beautiful.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.